A huge eye suddenly appeared in the sky. People all stopped in their tracks, expressionlessly looking at the sky. People who saw the eye all lost consciousness, freeze in place and do not move. It was as if they were petrified. What the hell is happening here? Just a few minutes ago, Xiaomei was eating in the restaurant, suddenly felt a sharp pain in her body. Immediately after that, other people in the restaurant at the same time turned their heads to look out the window. Then, as if they were being controlled in an orderly manner to go outside, and those who didn't have time to go out, directly frozen in place. Xiaomei had just regained her senses. Sensing that something was wrong, she hurriedly went to the street, wanted to ask everyone what happened, but everyone was standing still. No one paid any attention to her. Xiaomei was so scared that she didn't know what to do. At that moment, a girl came up to her and asked Xiaomei, "How much time do you have left?" Xiaomei was puzzled. When she heard this, the girl looked at her as if she was not very smart, so she turned her head to look at the sky. Instantly frozen in place, Xiaomei ran towards home in fear. On the way she met a police officer. She rushed to ask what was going on, but the police officer smiled and said, "This is just the system's regular maintenance." He had notified her a long time ago. Xiaomei asked him what she should do now, but the other side said when he woke up, he would be fine. After saying that, he looked up to the sky and also freeze in place. Xiaomei ran home in a panic. She wanted to see how her husband was doing. Luckily, her husband was still normal. She hurriedly described to her husband what had happened. At that moment, her husband suddenly realized he had forgotten about the maintenance time. Xiaomei was completely dumbfounded this time. She asked her husband what the hell was going on. However, her husband said, "You don't have to act anymore. Do you really not know who you are?" Then he walked straight outside. The man just looked up at the sky, instantly was fixed in place. No matter how much his wife knocked, he did not move at all. All the people on the street also do the same. The woman saw this scene, completely panicked, scared, and rushed back to the house. Just at that moment, two strange men barged in. Then they winked at each other. Then they began to split up. Sensing danger, Xiaomei grabbed a kitchen knife to defend herself. "Let them get out of here quickly." But the two said, "They are all customer service staff, here to maintain the system." As soon as the words were said, Xiaomei lost the knife in her hand. Xiaomei watched in awe at what was happening. The two men tried to explain this world to her. They played her an introduction video directly. It turns out that the world Xiaomei is now in is a virtual game world. The players in the real world can be in a deep sleep state. Let the brain and the server synchronize, then enter this world together. Each player's brain, just like a computer mainframe, players can create their own characters, or they can let the server assign them randomly. The end of the day in the game world. It also happens to be the time to wake up in reality. The feature of this game is to let people experience a different life, a very different life. The only requirement is not to be out of character. After watching the introduction video, Xiaomei still felt incredible. Then the customer service staff told her, in fact, in the real world, she is a man. Everything here is created for her by him. She thought for a while and then asked, then why can't she remember it all? The customer service continued to explain to her, because you yourself last night, not long after entering the game, you had a heart attack. The whole person fell into a coma. That's why she felt a sudden sharp pain in the restaurant. Suddenly felt a sharp pain, and, in reality, he is now in the hospital to rescue, but he had also been synchronized in the game. Customer service also continued to tell her, this kind of situation they also encountered for the first time. That's why they came to the game, trying to get her to quit the game voluntarily, so that he could wake up in reality. This also means she had to leave this world forever. Xiaomei decisively refused, because in her eyes, that person was a complete stranger, and now is the real existence. She didn't want to let a stranger and ruin such a beautiful life. The customer service staff was also in a difficult position. They had to ask the higher level administrator if we need to force the synchronization to end. At that moment, a woman suddenly appeared in the room. The two women in front of you are a couple, have been married for 15 years, and also gave birth to a pair of twins. Can you believe it? In fact, the space they are in now is a virtual game world. Because the woman's husband entered the game not long, he had a heart attack. He fell into a severe coma, so the woman used her own consciousness, synchronized to the server, wanted Xiaomei to voluntarily end the game. Only then, the real husband can wake up. She tells Xiaomei about little bits and pieces of the marriage, hoping to awaken her memory. Xiaomei looked at the woman's sincere and heartfelt look. She was a bit soft. She decided to give it a try. Just as they both looked up at the sky at the same time, Xiaomei suddenly hesitated. She wanted to tell the woman, but it was already too late. The woman was already offline from the game, so this was all a ploy by Xiaomei. She wanted to wait until the end of maintenance to stay in this world. Xiaomei returned to the hotel she ran. When she looked out the window, she found a pigeon had landed on the windowsill and kept tapping on the window. Then it made an eerie cooing sound. It turned out that it was a guest who had come to spy on her. When Xiaomei saw them, she had to turn around and run. The four customer service agents started to split up, looking for Xiaomei's whereabouts. Xiaomei, to avoid the customer customer service tracking, but directly to the rooftop. At this moment, a man suddenly appeared behind her. The man said he was the developer of the game, and had asked the customer service staff to leave. He did not persuade Xiao Mei to stop the game. Instead, he told her, if she wanted to stay in this world, all she had to do was sign a contract. Once the contract was signed, it also means that, no matter what happens to her in the future, has nothing to do with the game company. Xiao Mei hesitated. She asked the man, if I stay here, what should I do if I'm in a coma in reality? The man told her, the real him half an hour ago, he had already left the world. Now if we force the game to end, there is no longer any meaning. And in this virtual world, maybe it's another way for you to survive. Finally Xiao Mei signed the contract. With the end of the countdown, the big ball in the sky also gradually disappeared. Just at that moment, everyone also regained consciousness. The game started again. Perhaps in the eyes of these people, the other world is the virtual one. Xiao Mei also decided to live a good life in this world. This is the end of the film.